What if the best planet for life in the universe isn't Earth? Somewhere out there, orbiting a distant star, there may be worlds with calmer climates, longer-lasting suns, and conditions so stable that life could evolve more easily than it ever did here. Not just habitable, possibly more conducive to complex life. And this isn't science fiction. It's a real scientific idea based on exoplanet research, climate models, and years of observations by NASA, ESA, and major observatories worldwide. So if Earth is not the ultimate cradle of life, which planet might be? Earth is extraordinary. It gave rise to oceans, forests, animals, and eventually us. But it has never been an easy place for life. Our planet has endured asteroid impacts, ice ages, massive volcanic eruptions, shifting climates, and 5 major mass extinctions that wiped out huge portions of life each time. Life survived, but it survived through chaos. That raises a fascinating possibility. What if, somewhere in the galaxy, there are planets where life had it easier? When scientists talk about a world being better than Earth, they don't mean more beautiful, more advanced, or already inhabited. They mean something more specific. A planet that may be more stable over immense stretches of time. A world where liquid water could persist for billions of years. A world with fewer violent climate swings. A world massive enough to hold on to its atmosphere, but not so massive that it becomes hostile. And most importantly, a world orbiting a star that lives far longer than our Sun, giving life much more time to begin, evolve, and become complex. That idea has led scientists to a remarkable category of possible worlds, sometimes called superhabitable planets. And one of the most intriguing theoretical candidates, often mentioned in these discussions, is Kepler-442b. Located about 1,200 light-years away, Kepler-442b is roughly 30% larger than Earth, large enough that it, in theory, could help it retain an atmosphere over long timescales, though we don't yet know what kind of atmosphere it actually has. But the real reason it stands out is its star. Kepler-442b orbits an orange dwarf, a K-type star. These stars are often considered especially interesting in the search for life because they can burn steadily for tens of billions of years, far longer than the Sun, while being calmer than many smaller red dwarfs. That means if Kepler-442b has the right atmosphere and the right chemistry, life there may have had far more time to develop than life on Earth ever will. In some ways, it may be like a calmer, longer-lasting Earth. But not every promising world is just a bigger, calmer Earth. Some may exist in systems so different from our own that life there could unfold in ways we've barely begun to imagine. And the most fascinating possibility may not be a single planet at all. It may be an entire family of worlds orbiting one of the longest-lived stars in the galaxy. That system is TRAPPIST-1. When scientists discovered 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting this tiny red dwarf star, it changed how we think about habitable worlds. And among them, one world stands out: TRAPPIST-1e. TRAPPIST-1e is very close to Earth in both size and density, and it orbits inside the system's habitable zone. Climate simulations suggest that, under the right atmospheric conditions, it could potentially maintain liquid water on its surface. That alone would make it fascinating. But the bigger reason scientists pay attention to TRAPPIST-1e is time. Red dwarf stars burn their fuel incredibly slowly. After their violent early years, they can remain stable for extremely long periods, potentially far longer than Sun-like stars. If TRAPPIST-1e managed to keep a protective atmosphere or magnetic field through that early active phase, then life there may have had an astonishing amount of time to emerge and evolve. And if it exists, it wouldn't be alone. In its sky, neighboring planets would appear much larger than planets do from Earth, creating a cosmic neighborhood unlike anything we've ever known. And if you're curious to learn more, if these worlds fascinate you, hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated on our cosmic discoveries. Now, let's dive into another planet that could be even more extraordinary than Earth. Another nearby world adds to this picture. LHS-1140b, just 40 light-years away. This dense, rocky super-Earth orbits a relatively quiet red dwarf star. Unlike many flaring red dwarfs, LHS-1140's star is calm, offering a more stable environment for life to potentially take hold. Its high density suggests a solid surface, and if it has retained an atmosphere, conditions on the planet could remain stable for billions of years, giving life far more time to develop than on Earth. In a way, if Earth represents a planet shaped by repeated catastrophes, LHS-1140b could be a slower, steadier world, where evolution unfolds with fewer interruptions. And then there is Kepler-452b, often called Earth's cousin. At first glance, it sounds like the perfect answer. It orbits a star much like our Sun, at a distance similar to Earth's orbit, and its year lasts about 385 days. It also lies in its star's habitable zone. For a long time, Kepler-452b stood out as one of the closest Earth-like orbital setups we had ever found. But there's a catch. Its star is similar to the Sun, but older, about 1.5 billion years older than our own. That means life there, if it ever began, may have had more time than life on Earth has had so far. But unlike K-dwarfs or red dwarfs, it still doesn't offer the same enormous long-term lifespan advantage. Kepler-452b is still a fascinating candidate, but it helps scientists realize something important. The most Earth-like planet may not necessarily be the best planet for life. That idea changes everything, because habitability is not just about being at the right distance from a star, it's about stability. Atmospheres regulate temperature and pressure. Gravity determines whether those atmospheres can survive. Magnetic fields may help protect atmospheres and surfaces from stellar radiation. And the type of star can decide whether a world gets a few billion years of opportunity or tens of billions. So yes, some planets may genuinely offer life better odds than Earth. Imagine a world with slightly fewer catastrophic resets. A world where oceans remain stable for longer. A world where radiation is lower, climates are calmer, and evolution unfolds with more uninterrupted time. On such a planet, complex ecosystems might become more common. And if life gets enough time, intelligence may not be rare at all. We still don't know if any of these planets are truly inhabited. Right now, there are possibilities, some stronger than others. But we are entering the first era in human history where we can begin to test these ideas. The James Webb Space Telescope is already helping scientists study exoplanet atmospheres, searching for gases and chemical clues that could reveal whether distant worlds are truly habitable or even biologically active. Future NASA and ESA missions will push that search even further. And with every discovery, one unsettling and beautiful question grows harder to ignore. What if Earth is not the best world for life, only the one we know best? And yet, even if the galaxy contains planets older, calmer, or more forgiving than our own Earth, remains something extraordinary. It is still the only world we know for certain to exist. A fragile, resilient sanctuary that survived impacts, extinctions, and cosmic violence, and still gave rise to oceans, forests, animals, and minds capable of looking back at the stars. So maybe the real question isn't just which world is better than Earth. Maybe it's whether we'll still be here when we finally find out. If this journey through the cosmos inspired you, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more deep space discoveries, share it with fellow space enthusiasts, and leave a comment below telling us which of these extraordinary worlds would you want humanity to explore first.